Okay, so this recording is for Module 3 practice tests. I'm going to go through each question one by one, and hopefully if you get stuck on anything, you can use this as a help to aid you when you go to take your test. You'll know what you need to do. All right, let's start with number 1. All right, so number 1 says determine whether each ordered pair is a solution of 3x plus 5y equals 15. So what they want you to do is to plug this ordered pair into this equation and see if it is true, if it equals each other. All right, so the number 1, and I will call the first one A. All right, let me get this where you can see it. Our equation is this, and they want it to know if this is a true equation. So where I see x, I'm going to put -5. Where I see y, I put 6. And then we want to know if this will equal 15. Sorry. So it's best that when you have you have two numbers in an ordered pair, that you put them in parentheses. That way you will know when you do the problem that it will actually be multiplied as it is intended. All right, so 3 times -5 is -15. 5 times 6 is 30. If we do -3 plus a positive 30, we will get 15, and 15 does equal 15. So let's do the second one where it's 0 and 5. So our x is 0, our y is 5. So again, our whole goal is to see if this does equal 15. So 3 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 does not equal 15. So this is a yes. This was a no. Try to straighten up my microphone a little bit. I mean my camera. Alright, C. C is 3 and 6/5. So 3 times 3, 5 times 6/5, and does that equal 15? So 3 times 3 is 9. Now remember how you do fractions. It's numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So 5 times 6 is 30, and then it'll be 5 on the bottom, so it's 30 divided by 5, which is 6. That is 15. 15 does equal 15, so this is a yes. So our first question, we have a yes, a no, and a yes. All right, number 2, it gives you some of the coordinates and it wants you to find the other coordinate. So on the very first one, they give you the y coordinate and they want to know what the x coordinate is. The second line, they give you the x and they want to know the y. So what you do is just plug in for your y the 3, and then you'll solve it for x. And then the same thing for the x, you'll plug in your x value and then you'll solve it for y. Alright, so let's write this down. So number 2. Number 2, our equation is 3x minus 4y equals 9. And let me write this little t-chart here. Not sure why we're not focused. Alright, so on the very first one, they want to know if y is 3, what would x be? So we know that our y is 3. So we're going to solve this. First thing is you're going to multiply those two. And then remember, when you're solving equations, that your whole goal is to get your x by itself. So we want to get rid of this first. What you do to one side, you do to the other. You do the opposite That gets rid of it. We get 21, and then we're going to divide by 3, so x is 7. So our very first value that we needed to find is 7. That looks like a 1, but it is a 7. Alright, for our second line they tell us that x is 0 and they want to know what our y is. So our equation is such, and then our x is 0 and we're trying to solve for our y. Sorry, trying to work from a home office, it's not very big. Alright, so this is 0. We can just leave that off. Divide by -4. So our y equals -9/4. So our second answer is -9/4. Alright, for our third equation, they give us -1 for our y value, and we need to find our x value. So we know that our y is -1. Going to do this first. Now you can look at this as a -4 and a -1, and that would be a +4. Or if you just want to look at it as 4 times -1, that's -4, but a minus makes it a positive anyway. So I always like to put them together. -4 times -1 is +4. Take away 4 from each side. Divide each side by 3. So our final value is 5/3. So go back here, and 5/3. And then our last equation, they gave us x value of -2, and we're trying to find our y. So our equation, and we want -2 for our x. 3 times -2. Add 6 to both sides. Gets rid of that. 9 times 6 is 15. Divide both sides by -4. So your y value is -15/4. When you're dealing with negatives, you can put a negative on the top or the bottom, as I've done here, and they both mean the same thing. Or you can even put it out front, as so. But you cannot put it in both spots. If you put it in both spots, they cancel each other out, and then that makes a positive. So I don't really care where your negative goes, just make sure that somewhere it is there. Oops, and that was a negative. Alright, so let me fill this in. We have 7, negative, what's our second one? 9/4. And -15/4. Oh wait, we had 5/3 first. And then -15/4. Alright, so there's your answers for the first two. Alright, so our third question. Suppose that it costs $14 to place a classified advertisement in the newspaper, plus $5 for each line. Then the cost to place an ad, X, lines long, is given by Y dollars, where Y equals 5x plus 4. So they want you to express as an ordered pair the fact that an ad costing $104 is 18 lines long. So you know an ordered pair we have a parenthesis, and we have our x value and our y value. So here's our scenario. They tell you it's $104 for 18 lines. If you look back in the original equation, or the original story, they tell you that how many lines long it is your x value, and how much it costs is your y value. So using this information, we know that 18 is our x value and 104 is our y value. So that's all they're looking for, is an ordered pair. All right, number 4. Find the x-intercept and the y-intercept of the graph of the equation 2x plus 4y equals 20. Do not graph this equation. Write your answers as ordered pairs. So always pay attention to how they ask. If you give me an x-intercept that's not written as an ordered pair, you're going to miss some points. So just be careful. All right, so to find your x-intercept, you know that your y has to be 0. And then to find your y-intercept, your x has to be 0, because that's where it crosses your x value and your y value. So for our x-intercept, I'm going to set my y to 0. So we're going to do 2x plus 4y equals 20. So we're going to set that y to 0 and solve. So when our y is 0, our line will hit at 10. So to write that as an ordered pair, we put 10 and then 0 for our y. Now to find our y-intercept, we want to set our x to 0, because that's where on a line, that is where it's going to cross over your y. So let's place our 0 and our x. So our y will be 5. So our y-intercept, our x will be 0 and our y will be 5. All right, number 5. Use the graph to identify, write your answers as ordered pairs. So our x-intercept and our y-intercept. So our x-intercept is where it hits the x, our y-intercept is where it hits the y. So our x we know is 1, 2, 3, and we know that's at the 0 on the y. And our y is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's on the 0 of the x-axis. So there's your next two answers. All right, number 6. Use the graph to identify. Write the answers as ordered pairs, x-intercept for A, and state there is none, and then B, or state none if there is none, and then B, the y-intercept, or state there is no y. Alright, so it's kind of hard to tell on here, but this is our coordinate system. Here's our x and our y, and this is the line we're looking at right here. Alright, so what is our x-intercept on here? Here's our x. It never touches it, ever. So there is no intercept for x, I should say x-intercept. Now on our y, it does hit our y, and it says write them as ordered pairs. So we know our x will be 0, because that always happens. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's in the negative for our y. So there's our ordered pair. All right, number 7. A new car worth 24,000 is depreciating in value by 3,000 per year. The mathematical model y equals negative 3,000 x plus 24,000 describes the car's value, y in dollars, after x years. Write your answers in order pair. All right, so number 7a, find the x-intercept. Describe what this means in terms of the car value. All right, so here's our equation. To find the x-intercept, we would set our y to 0. And then we would solve for our x. So we're going to minus 24,000 from both sides. And then we'll solve, and that comes out to 8,000. So our x-intercept is 8,000 and 0. And what does this mean in terms of the car? Well, that means, excuse me, that when the car is new, which is what the y value represents, how many years, then it is worth $8,000. Oh, wait a minute, I think I just solved that wrong. This is actually 8. Okay, yeah. Alright, so ignore what I just said. This is 8. I did some bad math. Alright, so the answer is 8 and 0. See, we're all human. Alright, so what this means is after 8 years, because that's what the x value means, the car is worth nothing. So after 8 years, car has no value. Alright, the y-intercept, we're going to set the x to 0, and then we're going to solve. So when we do that, it comes out to a nice, even, pretty number. So then we would write that in terms of an ordered pair. And then what this means is at 0 years, so new, the car is worth $24,000. And then they ask you to graph it. Now, you're going to do the best you can with the lines that you're given, but my years are on the bottom, and I know I need to go to 8, so I went ahead and did this. And I know I have to go up to 24,000 on here, so let's do 3,000. Maybe we'll fit. We're not going to fit, are we? 21,000. So up here somewhere is 24,000. So if you would have done a better job than I. So up here, we could have gone up. Just make sure that each of these intervals are the same. You know, don't just plop a number and say 24,000, and then when you go to answer the next question, it makes it kind of hard. All right, and then we're going to plot this. So kind of looks like this. And then the last question says use your graph to estimate the car's value after 5 years. So if you go to the 5 and you go up somewhere in this direction, somewhere in here, so it's somewhere between 6 and 9,000. So that's a 3,000 difference. So, you know, 7,500. So there is a little bit of wiggle room here. You know, anywhere in that range is an acceptable answer. Alright, number 8. Find the slope of the line shown on the graph. Each block is 1 unit. Alright, so the best way to find the slope is either 1, you can use the slope formula where it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or we can also count. I can find a spot where I can see it crosses. So there's those 2 spots that I know definitely that's where it crosses. And we can remember it's slope is rise over run. So 1, 2, 3. So we're going down 3. That's our rise. If we were going up, it would have been a positive. And then we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if we want to simplify that better, it would be negative a half. You can also take these points, 1, 2, 3, so we have negative 3, 3, and we have 1, 2, 3, 0, and we can subtract them and get the same thing. I got a negative missing somewhere. Negative 3, 3. Oh, I did these backwards. That's my. There we go. So you should get the same answer either way. So as long as you can find 2 points that you can see where it crosses and you can actually get those points, then you know you're good. Alright, number 9. Graph the linear equation y equals negative 4/3 x plus 2. Alright, so this is in slope-intercept form, which is a perfect form to be able to graph because this is your y-intercept and this is your slope, which we call m. So put a point on your y at 2, and then you're going to go down 4 over 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And then we can draw a line the best you can. You're going to be doing these on a computer, so you'll have a lot straighter lines. All right, number 10, graph the linear equation 5x minus 3y equals 15. To me, the best thing to do is to put it in slope-intercept form, which means we want it to be y equals. So I'm going to minus this. You can also find the x and y intercepts, but sometimes they don't come out whole. So if you do it that way and it comes out whole, you're perfectly fine to graph it that way. To me, the slope-intercept form is the easiest because it gives you the exact point where you're going to start. So that's gone. Then divide everything by negative 3. So now our slope-intercept form says we're going to start at the y-intercept at negative 5, go up 5 over 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up 5 and over 3. And there's our line. Number 11, graph the linear equation y equals 2. So kind of already in the slope-intercept form, we just don't have a slope. So that means this is going to be a straight vertical line. I'm sorry, a straight horizontal line. This is vertical. Straight horizontal line. The reason I know that it's horizontal is because it's on the y. If it said x equals 2, then it would be a vertical line because these are all the x values. Alright, so we're just going to go up to the 2. So anywhere along here we can draw a point and then we're going to draw our line. So y-intercept form, whatever's next to the x is our slope, and then what's after that is our y-intercept. Well, we only have a y-intercept. We're missing the slope. The slope is 0, so there is no slope. Alright, number 12. Find the slope of the line passing through a pair of points or state that the slope is undefined. Then indicate whether the line passes through the points, rises, follows, is horizontal, or is vertical. Alright, so they give us our 2 points, and it's y2 minus y1, and you can label these however you want. We can do x1, x2, I'm sorry, y2, x2, oh my goodness, x2, y2. So it's y minus y1, or 2 minus 1, and then 2 minus 1. And we get 4 over 4, which is 1. So our slope is 1. and it rises because it's positive. If it was a negative, it would be falls. If there, let's see, if the top is 0, then it'll be horizontal. If the bottom is 0, it'd be vertical. Right, number 13, graph both linear equations on the same graph. If the lines are parallel or perpendicular, explain why. So I'm going to put these in slope-intercept form first. So we're going to subtract and divide by -2 and subtract and divide by -4. So this is a half. Alright, so right away I can look at this and tell that these are parallel lines because they have the same slope. So hopefully when we graph these, we'll have two lines that never touch but are equidistant from each other. Alright, so let's start here, -1, up 1 over 2. Do the best I can. And then we'll start at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then up 1 over 2. Alright, so in our answer, parallel. And because slopes are the same. As an A. Alright, number 14. Use the given conditions to write an equation for the line and point slope form and the slope intercept form. M equals 4 and the line goes through the points -3 and 5. So if we remember our formula, we need a point and we need a slope to be able to use that formula. And that's what they gave us. So this is X and this is Y. So we're going to do Y, take away 5 and 4 for our M, and X, take away -3, which is positive. So our point slope form is here. And then our slope intercept is to simplify it, and it'll be Y equals. So if I continue over here, I'm going to bring my 5 over and distribute this. 4x plus 12 plus 5. Then I'll have Y equals 4x and plus 17. Alright, number 15. M equals -2 and the line goes through the origin. So remember, you need a point and a slope to be able to do this. They give you the point or the slope and then they tell you the origin for your point. Well, that just means 0, 0. So it's a tricky word, but that's all it means. So we're going to plug it in. So this is our point slope form. And I'm going to write that here. And then we simplify it and for our slope intercept form. So 0 goes here. We have Y equals -2x because -2 times 0 is 0 and 0 brings over. So that is our final answer. Number 16, our slope is 0 and it passes through the points 5 and -3. So again, plug in what you know. That would go here. And then simplify it for slope intercept form. I'm sorry, this keeps focusing in and out. Technology, that's annoying. Alright, number 17, find the equation of the line passing through negative 3, 2, and perpendicular to the line whose slope-intercept is y equals a half x minus 2. So the main key here, remember we always need a slope and a point. Well, they gave you the point, and then they told you the slope is similar to this line, it's just perpendicular. So perpendicular just means you're going to flip it. So if it was this, I'm sorry, I should put this m. Then we want to flip it and make it the opposite sign. So now our new slope is negative 2. So that is y take away 2, our slope, and x plus 3. So that's what goes here. And then we're going to simplify it. Now if you feel like I'm going too fast, remember you can always hit pause, get yourself caught up. If you go through the whole thing and you still aren't getting the same answer as me, feel free to shoot me a question. I'll be happy to answer. Alright, last page. Number 18, find the equation of the line passing through the points 4, 1 and 8, negative 1. So we always need a point, we always need a slope. Well, we gave us 2 points, but they didn't give us the slope. But if you have 2 points, you can always find the slope. So let's do that first. We have negative 1, take away 1, 8, take away 4. So our slope is negative a half. So I'm going to write this here for myself. Now for our point slope form, it doesn't matter which point you choose. You will have a different answer here if you choose a different one than I, but at the end we will have the same slope intercept form. Alright, so we have y minus 1, negative a half, which is the slope we found, x minus 4. If you use the other line, y plus 1, negative a half, x minus 8. So either one of those is our point slope form. Let me write that down real quick. So they look different at the beginning, but when we solve these and simplify them into the slope intercept form, we will have the same slope intercept form. Alright, so let me just simplify this one. Distribute first. Negative a half times negative 4 is positive 4 over 2, so that's just 2. Brought this one over. So there's our slope intercept form. So as long as you remember that you need a point and a slope to be able to do the point slope form, you will always get these right, or you'll get at least on the right track, I should say. Alright, 19. Find the equation of the line passing through the point negative 8, negative 10 and is parallel to the line whose equation is y plus 4x equals 3. So they gave us a point, we need to find the slope. The key is that the slope is going to be the same as this equation because it's parallel, and parallel means the same. So let's put this guy into the right form. So I just brought the 4x over, made it a negative. So now we know that our m is negative 4. And then for our point slope form, y take away negative 10, which is positive, negative 4, x take away negative 8, I don't know why it keeps auto-focusing. Hopefully you don't have too much of a headache from it. And then we'll go ahead and simplify it for our slope-intercept form. So we have y equals negative 4x minus 42. All right, number 20. Find the equation of the line passing through the points negative 6, 2, and is perpendicular to the line whose equation is 3x minus 2y equals 2. So they gave us the point. We just need to find the slope. And it says it's perpendicular to this line, so that means it's going to be the opposite sign, opposite reciprocal. So let's find that first. So here's our line. So the only thing we need from this line is our slope. So if our slope was 3/2 and we want to make it perpendicular for our new line, we flip it and change the sign. So this is our new slope. And then we'll just use the point they give you to write the equation. Y take away 2 equals negative 2/3 x minus 6. And then we'll go ahead and simplify, oops, we'll go ahead and simplify that. So negative 2/3 times 6 is negative 12 over 3, which is negative 4. And then we add the 2 to it. So we have y equals negative 2/3 x minus 2. Alright, 21. Find the slope of the line passing through the points negative 1, 8 and negative 5, 3. So it's y minus y, x minus x. So y minus y, x minus x. So we have negative 5 over negative 4. So negative over a negative is a positive. So our slope is b. 22. Find the slope and y-intercept of the line with the equation y equals negative 37x plus 2/7. Now your final exam, your Module 3 test and your final will not have any multiple choice on it. So hopefully you understand how to get your answers so that you don't have to look at an answer and work backwards. Find the slope and y-intercept of the line with the equation y equals negative 37x plus 2/7. So slope-intercept form, this is our y-intercept, and this is our m, our slope. So we're looking for a slope of negative 3/7, so that eliminates b. And our y-intercept is 2/7. So obviously it eliminated c. This one is perfect, so it's an A. 23. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line with the slope negative 8 passing through negative 3 and negative 2. Alright, so we know our formula is y take away negative 2, negative 8, and x take away negative 3. So slope-intercept form is the point-slope form simplified. And I'm looking for a negative 8 slope and negative 26. So our answer is B. Alright, what quadrant does point negative 3, negative 5 lie? So a visual. These are all pluses over here, and these are negatives, and this is plus and this is minus, and we start here 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they're asking about negative 3, negative 5. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is in our third quadrant, which is C. And last but not least, write the equation of the line passing through the pair of points 8, 5, 9, 6. So first thing we need is a point and a slope. They gave us a point, they gave us a couple, so we need to find our slope. So it's 6 take away 5, 9 take away 8. We have 1 over 1, which is 1. So we know our slope is 1, and it doesn't matter which point you use. We just want to simplify it though. Y take away 5 equals 1, x take away 8, y equals 1x minus 8 plus 5. So we have y equals x minus 3 right there. Alright, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.